السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم يوم يحمى عليها في نار جهنم فتكوى بها جباههم وجنوبهم وظهورهم هذا ما كنزتم لأنفسكم فذوقوا ما كنتم تكنزون. أما بعد. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most magnificent, the most beneficent, the most merciful. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all His ni'mah and favors that He has bestowed upon us. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the divine guidance, the tawfiq and the life to be present on this day of Jumma in this month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our siyam and our qiyam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give barakah in our lives, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us many Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions salat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions zakat. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. There are approximately 28 places in the Quran, and over 80 times the mention of zakat has been mentioned in the Quran. And usually because it's the month of Ramadan and people take out their zakat in the month of Ramadan, people have many questions. But there are some people and there are certain individuals that do not know how to take their zakat out. People do not know how to calculate zakat. And na'udhu billah, Allah forbid, there are certain individuals who don't give zakat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that in the Quran. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةِ. Those who hoard gold and silver. Gold and silver is the standards that were there at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the dinar and the dirham, because they were gold and silver. Today's standard would be the dollar. وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَهَا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. They do not spend it in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning the zakatul mal. فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Give them good tidings of a very painful punishment. حارثة بن وهب الخزاعي رضي الله عنه يقول سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. Harith ibn Wahb ibn al-Khuza'i radiyallahu anhu, he narrates that he have heard that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that tasaddaqu, give your zakat. Here the word sadaqah here, majority of the time when the word sadaqah in the Quran is mentioned, it means zakat, unless specified. It says tasaddaqu, give your zakat. فَسَيَأْتِي عَلَيْكُمْ زَمَانٌ, that there is going to come upon you a time, يَمْشِي الرَّجُلُ بِصَدَقَتِهِ, a man will go about walking with his zakat to give it to somebody. فَيَقُولُ الرَّجُلُ, a man will say, لَوْ جِئْتَ بِهَا بِالْأَمْسِ, had you brought this zakat to me yesterday, لَقَبِلْتُهَا, I would have accepted it from you. فَأَمَّا الْيَوْمَ فَلَا حَاجَةَ لِي فِيهَا, as for today, I have no need of it. They said this time will come at the time of Imam Mahdi. Some say this time will come at the time of Isa alayhi salam, when Islam will spread and there will be peace and harmony throughout earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring forth the barakah of the earth. And at that time there will be nobody to accept zakat. A person, each and every single one of us is duty bound to give zakat. Duty bound. And we are negligent in its calculation. We are negligent in the day the zakat is due. And we are sometimes negligent in the masraf of zakat, as to whom should it be given to. Imam Tirmidhi rahmatullahi alayhi, he makes mention of a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He says, مَا مِنْ أَحَدٍ لَا يُؤَدِّي زَكَاةَ مَالِهِ, there is no individual that does not fulfill the zakat that is due upon him. إِلَّا مُثِّلَ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ شُجَاعًا أَقْرَعًا, except a bald serpent will come in the form of his wealth on the day of judgment. The reason is bald is meaning the more poisonous the snake is, that's why it's an idiom. إِلَّا مُثِّلَ لَهُ شُجَاعًا أَقْرَى. In another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that snake will say, أَنَا مَالُكَ وَأَنَا كَنْزُكَ, I am your wealth and I am your treasure. And in some narrations it says that snake will hold that person by his jaw and he will say this statement, Allahumma hafazna minhu, Allah protect us. Allah says, وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالٍ, who wants to gather wealth, وَعَدَّدَ, and he wants to count every penny because he can't spend it. وَعَدَّدَ, he counts every penny. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more a person becomes affluent, the more he starts counting. The poor guy doesn't have anything to count. But the guy who becomes more affluent, the more he starts counting. الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَ. Who has to give zakat? You should make a mental note of these numbers. Because the standard of zakat was based upon gold and silver, so you should remember the standard. The standard of silver is 612.37 grams. 612.37. Everybody remember that one, inshallah? 612.37. I'm not going to give you the tola and the ratal, today's weight. 612.37 grams of silver. Everybody remember that one? Repeat it to yourself so you don't forget it. Usually I see when there's something important, people also write it down on their phones. No problem, write it down. 612.37. And if you have gold, 87.48 grams of gold. 87.48 grams of gold. Once you remember these two standards, it's very easy. You go to the current gold and silver market rate today, you put in 87.48 grams of gold. Was approximately $5,433 on nisab of gold. And the rate of silver yesterday for the grams is $487. $487. So you have one standard of silver and you had one standard of gold. If a person has wealth that meets one of these two standards, if a person has wealth that meets one of these two standards, he has to pay zakat, 2.5%. If you have $100, how much will you give? $2.50. If you have $1,000, how much will you give? $25. If you have $10,000, how much will you give? $250. If you have $100,000, how much will you give? $2,500. But you need to understand what the nisab, threshold of nisab is. Because this threshold of nisab also qualifies a person to become a recipient. If a person is below the threshold of nisab, he also qualifies for becoming a recipient. So that is also important that you understand the standard, that this is the standard. Just to know the amount is not sufficient. Sometimes a father will pay zakat on behalf of his spouse. He will pay zakat on behalf of his son. If you pay zakat on behalf of somebody, zakat will not be completed until the person on behalf you are paying gives you permission to give zakat on their behalf. Mathalan, I'm sure your wife will agree. If you go home today and say, I wish to pay your zakat, I doubt she will disagree with you. She will agree with you. If you're going to pay your son zakat, then you should tell him, son, how much money do you have? This much money, this much zakat. Do you give me permission to pay it? Because he also needs to give you permission to pay his zakat, then your zakat will become ada. For you to pay it without his permission, zakat will not become ada. It will not become fulfilled. So if you pay zakat on behalf of a third person, take his permission. Without permission, you cannot give zakat. How to calculate zakat on jewelry? Zakat is due on 4 things. Zakat is due on how many things? 4 main things. Number 1, gold. Gold jewelry, gold coins, gold watches, etc. Number 2, silver. Silver jewelry, silver coins, etc. Number 3, cash. If you have cash and anything that will become under cash, for example, any assets that you have that also can liquidate and become cash will also be counted in that. And number 4, on anything that has been bought for commercial use. And these 4 things need interpretation, which are anything that has been bought for commercial trade, for trade. There are certain people who do business from their home. They sell clothes, they sell this, they sell that. But those clothes have been brought for trade. If they have been brought for trade, then zakat is due upon it. People are negligent, they don't know. It's not that they're not doing it, it's just they don't know. If you have animals, it's a different zakat nisab for it. But the standard is these 4 things: gold, silver, cash, and anything that you can liquidate that becomes cash, and anything that has been bought for trade. How to calculate zakat on jewelry? You will not, if today you go to buy jewelry, it might cost you $2,000, but the weight of jewelry is different than the jewelry itself, the price of it. So you will go to a jeweler and you will have your jewelry weighed, and the stones are not counted in the weight. The rubies are not counted, the diamonds is not counted, platinum is not counted. Only any other metal, any other precious stone or gem is not included in zakat. Even a diamond is not included in zakat. then you take the weight and you keep it safe. And when it comes the day of your zakat, you go on the website, you put the standard of zakat in, the silver and the gold, and you give zakat accordingly on the jewelry. Jewelry, irrespective if it is worn or not, if it is used or not, you still have to give zakat on it. There is this misconception that if jewelry is not used, don't give zakat on it. Jewelry, if it is used or not used, you will still give zakat on it. If you have jewelry that is made out of silver, you still give zakat on it. Now we have 22 karat gold, we have 18 karat gold. Now how do we give zakat on zakat? If it has more than 50% gold, it's counted as gold. If it has more than 50% silver, it's counted as silver. If it has less, it's not. So if you want to save zakat on jewelry, buy 9 karat gold if she will accept it. If they will accept it, buy 9 karat gold. But khair. So this is how we calculate zakat on your jewelry. How do you calculate zakat on your cash? Your cash is what you have in the bank. Your cash is your shares that you can liquidate. And shares is of two types. One are those shares that have been bought that you are going to get capital gain from it, meaning that you bought shares in British Airways for $1,000 because they were cheap, and says when they increase in price, I will sell it. That means you actually bought it for trade, not for the dividend. You actually bought it that these shares are cheap in price. I will sell them when they become expensive. You have to give zakat on the entire amount of that share because you bought it for trade, because you bought it for trade, for commercial reasons. You wanted to trade, no problem. So those of you who have bought Bitcoin for trade, Bitcoin wasn't around at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So those of you who have Bitcoin, and just give a nod of the head if you have Bitcoin. Oh, mashallah, everybody's nodding their heads. Allahu Akbar. If you have Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever coin there is out there, then zakat is due upon that also, because majority of the time you bought Bitcoin because of the inflation. You want the money to grow. And you're going to sell it when it becomes high. So your entire portfolio on Robinhood, you give zakat on. You give zakat on every single that entire portfolio on Bitcoin. Also, if a person has 401k, the gold, everybody asks this question, the 401, golden question of 401k. It's very easy. If you were to cash out your 401k, minus the penalty, minus everything, and the total amount that you get of your 401k today would be the zakat due on it. If you don't give zakat due on your 401k today and you give it when it matures, 10 years from today, then you will have to give zakat for the 10 years. So you better calculate each year on the 1st of Ramadan or whatever day is your zakat day is how much your 401k was worth. It becomes very difficult, especially those people who have large 401ks. You're going to end up giving a huge chunk of money at that time. And also remember, there's a slight problem here. If you die and you didn't leave inheritance, meaning you didn't leave behind bequeath and a will in which it was specified that you didn't take zakat out for the last 10 years from your 401k, your heirs will never take it out. They won't know, so they won't take it out. So we need to make sure that we give the 401k zakat and all these pension fund zakat whilst we have them, because they all have a cash value. They all have a cash value. Also, there is this misconception of 1 year passing. The whole concept of 1 year passing on the wealth, what does that mean? It means the following. Usually, I'm going to give a general statement. A person goes to college. Does he have his own money? No, right? He doesn't. He has grants, he has this. After he gets his first job, a man gets his first job. He got his job on the 1st of Ramadan and he got his first wage on 1st of Ramadan. That first wage gave him $3,000. Now, that's above the threshold of zakat. Yes. Now today, from today, he's now 1 year from today, the next Ramadan, 1st of Ramadan, if he is still on next year, 1st of Ramadan, if he still has whatever amount he has that day, irrespective if it is 10,000, irrespective if it is 50,000, irrespective if he received the money 2 days before the 1st of Ramadan, he received another 50,000 before 2 days before the month of Ramadan, he will give zakat on the 50,000 also. Now, if you try to say that 1 year passes on all of my wealth, you're going to be sitting there like an accountant every time. Oh, I bought this 1 year. I bought this 1 year. You will be giving zakat all the time. You will be giving zakat all the time. It's not like that. This 1 year rule is that beginning and the end of the year, if you have the amount of nisab, the threshold of zakat, you will give zakat. Not 1 year does not have to pass on anything that comes into your wealth. Even if a large amount of money came in your possession 2 days before your day of zakat, you will give the zakat on that large amount of money also. 1 year does not have to pass. The 1 year is like how do you become eligible? How you become eligible, that's the year. That's how it's calculated, eligibility. That initially when you attain that first amount of money that puts you above the threshold of zakat, after that 1 year your next zakat is due. And that's how your year is calculated. People do not understand. They think that 1 year has to pass over everything. That's not true. That's not true. There is going to be many other aspects that are unique to you. I cannot cover every single avenue of zakat, but I'll give you, those of you who have shops, those of you who have merchandise, how do you calculate zakat? If you will calculate zakat on the value of your goods in your shop, in your grocery store, what are your current, how much goods you have in your shop, how much gas you have in your gas station, you will collect it, minus the debt that you need to give for that amount of what you have bought, and that you get, that you will pay zakat on that. Obviously, things that you have bought on credit, you still have to pay for it. So you minus that, and then whatever is left, you give zakat on that. If you have a manufacturing plant, anything, the raw materials, you will give zakat on. Finished products, you will give zakat on, even though they haven't been sold. If you buy a house, this is a very important question. If you buy a house and the house is bought with the intention of flipping it, zakat is due on the entire amount. If the house is worth 500,000, then you will pay zakat on 500,000 minus debts. If you bought the house that you're going to put it out on rent, then there is no zakat on the entire value of the house. You will only give zakat on the rent. If you buy a plot of land with the intention of flipping it, you will pay zakat on the entire plot of land. If you buy a plot of land with the intention that you are going to maybe sell it, maybe do something, maybe put a house on it, you don't know, then you don't need to give zakat on it. It is at the time when you buy will be counted at the time. Any land that you have inherited from your forefathers, there is no zakat on it. Any land that you have inherited from your father or grandfather, there is no zakat on it. I cannot cover every single aspect, but I have covered the major things. I have covered the major things. One other thing, if a person has loans, there are two types of loans: long-term loans, short-term loans, or personal loans. Long-term loans and personal loans. Personal loans can be deducted. Long-term loans, if everybody starts deducting long-term loans, nobody will give zakat in the United States. Nobody will give zakat in the United States. So long-term loans cannot be deducted except if you are behind in your dues. You could deduct those for that year, 1 year. If you're behind in that year that you had your year of zakat, there were some payments still due. You could deduct those payments. But as far as deducting the entire amount of the loan, then nobody will give zakat like that. So long-term loans, there's difference between long-term loans and personal loan. Personal loan is somebody goes to somebody, borrows 1,000, 2,000. These are loans, right? That can be deducted in when he is giving his zakat. Now, if somebody owes you money, those are of two types. If somebody owes you money, those are of two types. One is that type that you know the guy is never going to give it to me. You have those people too, right? I'm never going to get it. So you don't need to deduct it, but if you do get it in the future, you have to pay zakat on the entire time duration. And there are those loans that you have given out, then you know that you're going to get the money back, then you should pay zakat on those receivables also. Also, if you're running a business and you know that there is money that is still in the back end, it's still receivables, you will pay on the receivables also. Meaning you still need to collect $20,000-$30,000 from somebody, that you will pay zakat on that also. These are just a brief synopsis, an overview, a panoramic view on how to give zakat. People give zakat in the month of Ramadan to increase their reward. That is a great intention. First of all, make sure that you know how to calculate your zakat. If you don't know, then ask somebody that might be able to guide you. Number one. Number two, when you do give zakat, make sure it goes to the correct recipient. The one person, the most worthy of your zakat is who? Your family. The most worthy of your zakat is who? Your family. People don't give to the family. Give to your family first. Family comes first. Your relatives in your different countries come first. Because if everybody takes care of their relatives, nobody else needs to take care of them. Because you're taking care of them, inshallah. Your relatives come first. After your relatives, your locality. Your relatives, your locality. Inshallah, if you have any specific questions in regards to zakat, I will be in the office after salat. You can come and ask, inshallah, because you might not be able to get the opportunity to ask. Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله. الحمد لله علي الذات عظيم الصفات سميع السمات كبير الشان جليل القدر رفيع الذكر مطاع الأمر جليل البرهان فخيم الاسم غزير العلم وسيع الحلم كثير الغفران جميل الثناء جزيل العطاء مجيب الدعاء عميم الإحسان سريع الحساب شديد العقاب أليم العذاب عزيز السلطان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فيا أيها الناس أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله والمواظبة على ذكر الله ألا خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وخير الأمور عوازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. وقال الله تعالى: والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم يوم يحمى عليها في نار جهنم فتكوى بها جباههم وجنوبهم وظهورهم هذا ما كنزتم لأنفسكم فذوقوا ما كنتم تكنزون. وقال تعالى: ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع مالا وعدده. وقال تعالى: ورحمتي وسعت كل شيء فسأكتبها للذين يتقون ويؤتون الزكاة والذين هم بآياتنا يؤمنون. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. قال الله تعالى إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني يذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. أقم الصلاة. Fill in the gaps inshallah quickly. Brothers, on to my right outside is the spaces at the back. Is everything filled in the back on the masjid inshallah?
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع ماله وعدده يحسب أن ماله أخلده كلا لينبذن في الحطمة وما أدراك ما الحطمة نار الله الموقدة التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم مؤصدة في عمد ممددة. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Astaghfirullah. Inshallah, after the announcements, inshallah, everybody is requested to pray a salat in the home because so we can make room for the next prayer, inshallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Several quick reminders, so please see the newsletter for further details. The Ramadan Quran Tafsir program for sisters will occur today on Zoom by Sister Asma from 4 to 5 p.m. The sisters, including kids, 10 and up, and adults, are having a special Ibadah gathering today downstairs from 5 to 7 p.m. All are encouraged to attend. We have a daily pre-iftar lecture on Zoom by Maulana Javid, 45 minutes before iftar for all family members, young and old. Tonight after Taraweeh, we will begin our Ramadan Mubarak lecture series in person at the Masjid by Maulana Adil. Tonight's topic is excellence of observing fast. We'll have a welcome Ramadan art workshop downstairs tomorrow from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. RSVP is required. We'll have iftar dinner drive-through distributions for the entire community tomorrow and Sunday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. inshallah. There will be a Ramadan program held on Sunday here at the Masjid for the youth. This will be on Sunday afternoon. Please see the flyer for details. So this weekend's topic was our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And lastly, we'll have a special